Oh boy, Buccaneer season is back, and we start this season off with a bang. A 1-0 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. And let's be honest, I mean, at least I was nervous what the season was going to look like so far, and obviously it's week 1, so a lot of things can change, but it's good to start off the season with a win, especially after that horrendous first half we had. But before I get into my reaction, if you are new here, I am Ramy B. I post weekly Buccaneer reaction videos, so make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And for my returning subscribers and viewers, as you can see, I am in a new place. I recently moved, and I'm still trying to figure out my camera placement and all of those things. So please be patient with me as I figure that out as the season goes along. But let's get into our reaction. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers opened up the 2023 NFL season with a 20-17 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this was a game where we were definitely outplayed by the Vikings. We had 242 total yards with 169 passing, 73 rushing, and the Vikings had 369 total yards with 328 passing and 41 rushing. Based on those numbers alone, you'd think we would have gotten blown out. But because of some timely turnovers, we had two fumble recoveries in the first half and a pick to close out the first half when the Vikings were threatening to score and go up on us. The first half definitely was, we were outmatched. The Vikings, after a few drives, they were able to move the ball at will, but again, a couple of turnovers, 2 fumbles, and a pick really helped us. We were struggling a lot. Baker looked very jittery and anxious. A lot of his balls were overthrown, or he was like trying to throw bullets to every single person. We were targeting O'Keefe like 20 times in the beginning. The offense seemed very discombobulated, but we were able to get down and score to Evans, and then obviously when the second half opened up, we had a beautiful 7-8 minute drive. I think it was 16 plays, and then obviously Minnesota did as well, since the third quarter only had 2 drives total. But in the second half, maybe Dave Canales figured out the best way to play call. Again, I think he called an overall well game. Obviously, you know, it's his first time calling in real NFL action, so there's going to be some hiccups and stuff. And I think they were mentioning on the broadcast at the end when it was 3rd and 10 and we got that out route to Godwin to kind of seal the game, that there is no tendencies that he has because he is new. The defense doesn't have any idea of what he likes to do or what he doesn't like to do. So I think that works in our favor in the sense that a lot of teams are coming in kind of blind as to what we like to do or want to do. But anyways, let me get into the stats. Baker Mayfield had a pretty good day on his standards, 21 of 34 for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't remember seeing any near picks as well. Again, he had 13 incompletions, but a lot of his incompletions were overthrown. It didn't seem like he had very risky throws at all that could have been picked. There was one, I think, where he threw to, I want to say it was Tompkins down, and it was perfectly thrown kind of between 2 defenders, and Tompkins just couldn't get it inside the goal line area. Rushing game, again, wasn't super fantastic. Again, we had 73 yards rushing. Rashad White, 17 rushes for 40 yards. Sean Tucker, 5 for 15. Baker did have 8 rushes for 10 yards. The big one was a 3rd down. He had 2. There was one where he stiff-armed the dude and kind of got a few yards, but then on that final drive to seal the game, he kind of put his shoulder down and got the first down. I think it was 3rd and 6 or something like that. So the run game was not super effective. However, when we needed it to be effective on that last drive, we were able to get some chunk plays, 6-7 yards a rush, and really put us in position to win the game. On the receiving end, again, we only had 169-yard passing, so not too many big games on the receiving end. Evans had 6 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown. I know there's a lot of drama surrounding Evans' contract. I think the one thing that's going to help Evans stay is if he gets his 1,000 yards and gets his touches. Of course, in the first half, it almost felt like he had no touches in the first quarter and going into the second quarter, which is worrisome, but it looks like Baker's still getting a feel for them and all of those things. But in regards to Evans, I think if he gets his 1,000 yards, because he's very, he already has a Super Bowl, a second one would be nice, but he wants to keep that streak going, which is going to really differentiate him from a lot of receivers in history and really strengthen his Hall of Fame case. And regarding that, I think he's going to be signed. I think they're just waiting until the season plays out like they did with Levante, see what the market value is, and then compensate him accordingly and appropriately. Chris Godwin, 5 for 51. He had that big 3rd and 10 at the end where they were talking about, will we run and punt it with like a minute 30 left to the Vikings, et cetera, et cetera. Nope. Godwin ran an out route, seemed like the ball was on his fingertips, ended up getting it secured. He had a couple really big catches at very crucial moments. And then Trey Palmer, 2 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown. I know he had a really big preseason, and it seems like he's going to have a pretty good season overall. I know Devin Tompkins had a little more touches during the game, and I'm glad we're incorporating him more. I know at the end of last season, he played a little bit more on offense, so that was good to see. Overall, I'd give the offense a B+. I know it's not a great game, but again, it's our first time really seeing the offense. I know in preseason, preseason doesn't matter. You saw what Kenny Pickett did with with the Steelers. He was like, had no incompletions, had an amazing game in the preseason, and then, you know, in real action, it didn't really matter. So it's good to see that after the first half, Baker was able to calm down. He started looking more confident. Hopefully that carries over into next week. Defensively, though, I think the first half I think overall we did a very good job, like an A-. However, there were times where Cousins was dissecting the defense, especially when we played that soft zone. And again, I don't know why Bowles always switches to soft zone. Regardless, Cousins had 33 completions out of 44 attempts for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, with the pick coming at the end of the first half where he threw it into the goal line, and it looked like the receiver got it, and then Izien, I think that's how you say his name, you know, I don't know if I said it correctly, but he ended up taking it out of his hands essentially. The run game didn't do much. Madison 11 for 34. Run game was pretty non-existent. They had 41 rushing yards total. On the receiving end, Justin Jefferson had 9 catches for 150 yards. I think they said that in the first half he had like 140 yards on like 7 or 8 catches, and then in the second half he really didn't have much, so our defense really locked down on him. Addison had 4 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. He's their new first-round pick. Hawkinson as a tight end had 8 for 35. I was really worried because typically tight ends dissect us, but he didn't, and then no other receiver had over 35 yards. We did have, I want to say, 3 or 4 sacks. Cansey had a sack, but he ended up getting hurt on his calf again, so questioning maybe did they rush him back too early. Winfield had a beautiful strip sack and recovery. I think he had a couple QB hits. I think we had a lot of QB hits this game. We were rocking Kirk Cousins, and then Izien had that pick as well. So overall, I give the defense an A-. I think in the first half, the defense was tiring out because similar to last year, they were playing real good, giving the offense a chance. Offense couldn't do much. Defense goes right back out. So all things considered, we got the 2 fumbles. I know one of them was like an exchange on the handoff. Wasn't our fault. Like, we didn't cause it, but hey, we still ended up recovering it. And then the strip sack and then that pick, which really saved us. That pick definitely would have put the game, 17-10 at halftime, and it would have really changed the dynamics. But overall, I'm pretty excited that the game came this way, and I think that we were able to do what we needed to do to win. Especially, you know, Minnesota had a really good season last year, and obviously they were never going to maintain their 11-0 and 1-score games. So still, the fact that we were able to come out of the second half poised and really turn it around compared to the first half and get the W is real good. So now we're starting off the season 1-0 in the division. The Saints beat the Titans, I think 16-15, so we're tied with them, and then Atlanta beat the Panthers, so we got a 3-way tie at 1-0. Next week we play the Chicago Bears. I don't know if they've played yet. I don't think they have. I could be wrong, so we'll see. Last year, I don't think we played them last year either, but we'll see how that offense looks. I'm not too worried about the Chicago Bears. They haven't really been good these last few years, so I really think we can confidently come out of next week with a 2-0 record, which is good because I know we're playing, I think, the Eagles coming up in a couple of weeks, and I think we play the Saints again, so it's definitely going to be interesting. But so far, positive reviews of the Bucs. Again, a little bit of struggle, but Dave Canales is his first time. Baker's coming off probably a lot of confidence issues from the last few years. But overall, I think it was an impressive win in Minnesota. That stadium was loud. There was so many times it was so loud. You could see, you know, Baker had to kind of cover up his helmet and things like that. But I'm very excited that we got the win. I know the post-Brady era, there was a lot of things about the offense is going to suck. We can't get a pass rush. We were able to get a pass rush. So I think things are trending upward, at least so far. But we'll see how next week goes. And if we can string off a second victory, I think it's very good for the team's confidence, because I'm sure, you know, whether they admit it or not having Brady is going to mess with their confidence a little bit, because again, with Brady, you were always in the game and you knew you always had a fighting chance at winning. So 1-0. Congratulations, Bucs fans. We were able to start the season off well, and again, based on our schedule, I think we can rattle off a winning record. I don't know if we'll have like 12 wins, but I think we can win the division with 9, 10 wins, considering how weak the division has been last year, and it looks like going into this year. So let's go, let's get it. Bucs Nation 1-0, and again, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. I'm going to be posting them weekly, and again, try to change up my little background and all that, but still figuring things out. So thank you for tuning in, and as always, let's go Bucs.
Let's go! You a Buccaneer fan? Let me know. We're about to witness